be mindful and intentional and prioritize keeping the promises that I make to myself. Because here's the thing, right? I talk a big game, and I mean it. Like I actually mean it when I say I'm creating the life of my dreams. Nothing else will do. You know what I mean? It's going to happen. I'm going to just keep going until I'm experiencing the things that I want to experience. Like they're not doing so is just not an option for me. Like it's just not. Like I'm stubborn as fuck, right? So like it's just not an option. And not accepting less than I deserve is key. Only allowing myself to engage with anything or anyone that values me is key. And here's the kicker. That has to start with me. And that's why this year of devotion to myself is so necessary, because I have to be the first one to say, I'm going to make these promises to myself and I'm going to keep them. And I'm going to prioritize my health and my body and my rest and healing and regulating my nervous system and my emotions, and honoring my presence, like knowing that my presence, like my energy, is such a gift. Like it's such a beautiful gift. And I will be the first one to really value that and really like savor in my own presence. It's just time. It's just time to pour that love and intention and attention and devotion inwardly to myself and to God. And so it just feels like a really magical, sacred time right now. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm describing what it was like for me. And that's it. That's all I have to offer. Lean a lot into the things that people kind of make fun of when they're like, oh, not to get woo-woo. Like, no, we're going to lean into it here. Like, we're going to get woo-woo. Like, let's have this conversation. Let's have all the conversations. Hello, beautiful people. Okay, so I know I'm like taking a rest period, but I just wanted to um recap something that I have been experiencing and talk about 2026 and going forward and things like that. Hi, my name is Vanessa, and this is the Let's Get Woo Woo podcast. Welcome. The last episode I did was episode number 40, and that was, I forgot what it was called, but it was the finale for season 2. And I talked about how I'd be coming back for season 3 in March, springtime sometimes. However, I am here as a bonus episode surprise. I just want to talk about the month of December and then the year 2026 going forward. So I around a little bit before Thanksgiving, I was really feeling like inspired and nudged to go into like some deep stillness in the form of a fast. And I'd done fasts before with like church or just individually. I grew up Catholic, so like there's Lent and things like that. The purpose of this specific fast for me was going into it was to quiet the noise from the outside and the energy from the outside in order to go within and do some really deep listening to my own heart and to God, to spirit. And it was really beautiful. Like I did document a lot through it. I don't know if I'm going to share it. It was more for like my personal processing and things like that. I might, we'll see. But it was exactly what I thought it was going to be, and even some more. And really early on in the fast, like within the first, I don't know, like day or two, I was like, oh yeah, this is this is amazing. This is exactly what I need right now. And I feel like I actually need an extended period of this. And So really quick, I'll just recap the fast, like logistically what it was and then what the experience of it was. So it was basically, I want to preface this by saying that at no point during the fast did I feel like I was depriving myself. It wasn't about you can't do this and you can't do that and you can't do that. It was about really being present was like one of the big themes of the experience for me, of like really being present with myself in moments of solitude and really being present with my life and my kids in moments of kind of like the Monday through Friday routine, all that stuff. And even like fun stuff that we did throughout. And because they were like on Christmas break and stuff. So we did a lot of fun things, but just being super present. So some things that I kind of just didn't engage with throughout this whole thing was like I took social media off of my phone. So I actually didn't post anything. I think I posted something on the 1st of December. And then I was just like, I took it off after that. But I wasn't consuming anything that wasn't just super intentional, that I knew for sure was going to like nourish my spirit or my heart in some way or like edify me. And that was wonderful. Like I might never put social media back on my phone ever again, because like it was just like I really noticed how many times, especially towards the beginning, I would like reach for my phone to like disassociate for a minute of like, this is so like much right now, whatever was going on in that moment. And it was like just wanting to like escape that in that disassociation of like doom scrolling or something. And it was like I intentionally didn't have that because I wanted to be present with myself, to really hold space for whatever I had going on within me, whether it was like emotions or feelings or processing or stress or overwhelm or joy or delight or like something that I was sharing with the girls or whatever it was, and just be really there, all the way there. And so that was really cool. I didn't consume any caffeine or like sugar other than like fruit. um, Celibacy, sobriety, and just not even entertaining any sort of connection, like very minimal of like socializing or anything like that. Um, so it was just a moment in time where I was able to like stop everything around me and be super present and have lots of moments of stillness, and where I did a lot of prayer, I did a lot of listening, I did a lot of meditation, I did a lot of dreaming. So one of the things that I talked about on episode 40, which was this last episode that I posted, was that I realized earlier this year that I talked about how sexual energy is our creative energy, right? It's our life force energy. Energy is how we create everything, our lives, people, all these things. And I talked about how earlier last year, I had realized that, oh shit, like I have an abundance of this sexual creative life force energy, because there's so much for me to create, like creatively projects, movies, books, podcasts, all these platforms or whatever things that I'm working on, endeavors. Um, there's so much of that inside of me. And so I was I was not expecting this, but like towards the end of it, I was like, oh, duh, like that makes exact perfect sense. So because I wasn't using any of my sexual energy, I had harnessed all of that and really put it towards creating my vision board that I wanted to update for the year 2026 and get very clear on like my dreams, my goals, my vision, my desires, what I want to experience, what I want to create for my life, long term, short term, all these things, right? And I put them out printed them out, color, put them up so they're in my room. And it was a really fun experience. It was long, like it takes it a long time to like for me to like gather everything, organize it, cut it out, put it up, all the things. But like that's something that I harnessed that energy and I used it in that way. And it felt really good. Like it just felt like this is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing at this point in my life. And also, there was just like a certain like mystique or like magic about it where it's like this is you actually when I talk about energetically building my life, this is a big part of that. And so that experience happened. Um I found myself going to the park that I go to where I sit on this hill. And even if I only had like 15 minutes to do that or 30 minutes, I found myself going there more often and really like just surrendering to like God's presence and holding me in that space. And sometimes there were no words. Sometimes it was tears. Sometimes it was silence. Sometimes it was worship, singing, whatever it was. But just really, really beautiful moments there in that spot specifically. Um, Also, really, really feeling just called to like spoil myself, like lavishly, like whatever I desire and whatever I want, like allowing myself to say yes to myself way more often and to the girls, like when we're experiencing things. That was really cool. Um, I did a lot of shopping at bookstores. I got this really cool vase for our table that reminds me when I was working on the vision board, I was looking at like beach homes off the shore of San Diego. And this vase is like a little slice of the ocean for me. And it was just like almost symbolic, prophetic maybe, of me waking up to the ocean in my home, like as my backyard. You know what I mean? And me and the girls, we went to the park and we got some sand and I washed it. And I just filled it with water and some salt, some ocean salt, sea salt, and some shells. And it just stays there and it's like a little piece of the ocean. And for me, that just like felt like abundance because it wasn't cheap. Like it wasn't a cheap vase. And I was like, should I spend the money on this? But I was like, what does it mean to me to have this in my home? And it's like just that constant reminder of like, yeah, like just reaffirming like this is going to be my experience one day, you know? So things like that. I got this card at my favorite bookstore, which is Changing Hands Bookstore. And I'm going to read it. It's really cute. I just put it up on my wall. It says, may you fall into your own arms. May you speak the words you need to hear. May you have gratitude with each breath. May you build your dreams with faith. May you embrace your soul with kindness. May you bring wisdom from your past. May you choose peace instead of anger. May you see the light in your darkest night. May you stumble upon yourself when lost. May you uncover courage beneath these fears. May you accept mistakes with humility. May you practice forgiveness to heal wounds. May you see the beauty of your imperfections. May you find love within your own heart. Dradinsky is the person who said that. And so, you know, I would just like see little things like this and be like, yeah, I'm going to get that, put it on my wall. But this really called to me because I was gearing up towards completing my fast. And I had such rich and beautiful experiences, and not without challenges, of course, because I feel like whenever you're doing something like super intentional like that, like there can be things that like just kind of try to knock you off of it, whatever it is. Some people call it spiritual warfare. And it just is what it is. And so there was like, for example, like I was in the ER on Thanksgiving and then a few days after that, and I had like a lupus incident. It wasn't that bad. Like I wasn't hospitalized, like admitted or anything like that. But it was a little scary because I had a hospitalization a couple of years ago with a lupus flare up, and I did not want to experience that again. So that was, excuse me, that was part of the reason of what inspired me to do this for a whole month and to continue it for all of 2026. And so a lot of what I had decided to do for the fast will continue on as 2026, which, like I said early on, I decided like, oh yeah, I'm doing this for a whole year. And I kind of just coined it then, affectionately referring to it as my year of devotion to myself. And I was like, that feels really right and good and necessary for me. And what that will look like is like continued solitude and celibacy. And really, it's just the process of individuation and just me really figuring it out, like individually who I am, what I want, what I actually in my heart of heart desire, not like considering other people, family, friends, what people will think, any of that. And it's just taking all the energy and effort and love and consideration that I normally pour out whenever I'm relating with anybody for any reason, and instead pouring that inward into me and in home, in my daughters, in our family here. And it was a very peaceful month. It was a very life-giving, restorative experience. It was a very like sacred space of communion with God, of listening, of hearing, of just the experience of like actually being held, the experience of like worship just like outpouring out of me, like when I wake up in the morning. Um, it's like a dream life, honestly, because it was, there's still the everyday schedule and stuff that I did, obviously. But when I had moments like this where I don't have the girls, I was able to really nourish myself deeply with rest, with sleep, with presence. Like I didn't have the girls on Christmas Day, and I went to climb Camelback Mountain. And really, like I had gotten the idea to do that like a few weeks prior. And I wasn't sure if I was going to go because I've been really trying to honor like the cycles of my body and all of that. But the day came and I kind of felt it out. I felt out like my energy levels. I was like, you know what? I feel pretty good. I think I could do that. Camelback is a very intense trail, is Echo Trail. There's a lot of boulders. Takes a couple hours, I think, for me at least, to get to the top. And it was a really beautiful experience. And the reason why I wanted to do it was to move energy. I just felt like I had to move my body in a very intense and like just exerting energy to move it out from everything from before this moment, because going into 2026, everything is going to be different. It's going to change everything. And a whole new version of me is being birthed. And so it just felt like release of everything before that moment. And that felt really good. But just feeling, giving myself permission to be able to rest, because after that I went to bed at some point that night, and then I slept for 12 hours. I haven't done that maybe ever, but I can't even remember the last time if I've ever done that. But yeah, it was a really beautiful experience. And now going forward, some of the themes that I picked up on during the fast, hold on. Some of the themes that I picked up on during the fast as it went on was very early on. I think it was like day 2 or 3. I was like at the park, how I do in the mornings. And I think I was recording, but I was just like processing, and I was like, yeah, I'm done playing. Like, I just don't have time to play about myself anymore. And meaning like I just can't allow any sort of interaction or engagement in my life with anything or any person that doesn't value me, that doesn't see my presence and my energy as a complete gift of what it is. And so that came through very strongly, to the point to where like I now feel like a visceral response in my body of like just this like aversion to even the thought of like me ever again accepting less than I deserve. And what's funny is I was telling my friend about the fast, and he was like, "You think you're going to last a whole year?" And I was like, honestly, my fear is that I'm going to enjoy my peace and this just like, I don't know, this energy so much that I might go years. It might be years before I ever connect with anybody romantically ever again, because it's like, not only am I not willing to lower my standards of myself anymore, but like I'm not in a hurry. Like I really enjoy my solitude. I really enjoy my space. I really am never bored. I really enjoy all of these things. And so I was like, it might be a really, really, really long time. I can see how women be like, it's been 5 years. And like, just now that I've decided that this is what I'm doing and I'm like resolute on this, I can see how that could happen, and it's not that big of a deal. So I just really believe in divine timing. I really believe in there are no coincidences, and everything that I've experienced, I'm grateful for, in the sense of I've learned so many lessons from the experiences that I've had, and also some of the experiences with specific people. Like I really cherish, like I really enjoyed it during the time that it was being experienced. And now, for whatever reason, like now it's over. And it's like, you know, that was amazing. Thank you. Um, but yeah, that is a theme that came up really early on in the fast that will continue not just throughout this year of devotion to myself, of only allowing that which values me to have access to me, but also me being the first one, especially in this year of devotion to myself and in very deep stillness and solitude, to be the one to exemplify to my own life, to my own self, to my own body, heart, mind, all the parts of me, to say, I'm going to love me so well that like, it's just, I'm not even going to be able to be in the same room with anything or anyone who doesn't show up like this for me, because this is what I deserve. And what I mean by that is like just continuing on the nourishment plan of being able to heal my body from autoimmune things, and doing that protocol of the Goodbye Lupus with Dr. Goldner. All of that, like hypernourishment and all of those things. Being very selective of the energies that I allow in by what I consume of like things on social media or whatever it is, or a show. And I normally don't watch TV anyways, but like social media, taking that off my phone was a really big deal. But also like being very intentional and mindful of the things that I do watch otherwise, like long format on YouTube or whatever it is, podcasts. And like, is this something that is good for me right now? And it doesn't have to be educational. It doesn't have to be inspirational. It could just be for the sake of joy. But like, is this what I need right now in this moment? You know what I mean? Um, I I think it's interesting. Feel like I'm just going to be more and more liberated to exist fully as myself, And obviously the name of this podcast is Let's Get Woo Woo. But I feel like my weird is going to come out even more in bigger ways. And it's like, in many ways I have and in some ways continue to dilute myself to make like me, I don't know, like more digestible, like socially acceptable, whatever. But like honestly, like I'm just a very odd person. Like there's just, if you knew like all the idiosyncrasies of like what goes on in here, um my personality, like my way of being. And so like me really living into this year, just sitting in the soup of my own soul will allow me to really let that come out and just exist with myself so that I feel comfortable existing as myself. And when I start to let myself socialize with other people and energies and things like that, then this is just who I am. You know what I mean? And like I've been saying this whole time is that I'm just going to show up 1000% as me, and whoever stays, stays, and whoever falls away, falls away. And it is what it is. You know what I mean? And like, thank you for the experiences and, moving forward. But like I just think it's funny because it's gonna only get weirder from here. So this is your heads up, your warning from that. I did take some notes because I'd been reflecting on this for a while. So one of the things with the fast, like going into it, was just a really like natural evolution. Like I didn't do it of like, this is a goal, this is what are those things called, like a New Year's resolution type thing. Like, no, 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 no. This was something that I was invited to, inspired to do. And it like very naturally rose up out of me, like the desire to, like, I didn't want to be consuming. I didn't want to be consuming any like gummies or wine or anything like that. I just had no desire for it. And I had no desire to like be interacting with anybody. And it was a very natural, like kind of shutting down and closing in on my own energy. And I just kind of went with it. And it was a very natural opening up to God and to worship. I think probably in the last, like, since November, I want to say, um, I had just felt like more inspired to talk about things of God and worship. And even like, I think it was episode 39 that I titled Broken Hallelujah, where I talked about my relationship with God and with Jesus after Christianity. And like, I had never planned on actually like talking about that, especially not in the season or so soon. But like it came up. And so it was just a very like natural, like continuation of all of that. And it was like, all right, cool, let's do this. And continues to be so. And so for the year of devotion to myself, some of the themes that I want to continue to carry on with are presence, like just continuing to, like, for example, not have my AirPod in my ear when I'm making dinner or washing dishes, and just being really present to be here in my own body, with myself, with my thoughts, with my daughters, and what's going on here in the home actually, and not disassociating in that way. That was really huge for me. Like it was like actually really nice. Like I enjoyed it and wasn't missing out on moments and was less frustrated, because there's definitely like an irritability that comes for me when like I'm trying to listen to something and grasp what they're saying, and somebody's over here talking to me and I'm like just get super overstimulated. And so like that, and I was really intentional about the music that I played, because music carries a lot of energy. So it was either like affirmation music or like worship music or something positive. And because um I was practicing celibacy, like nothing like sexual or things like that, because I'm just like, I'm not even in that realm right now. Like I don't need to be like thinking about anything that I'm not going to be doing right now. So like stuff like that. Continued stillness, deep listening, heart space, listen and honor. So there's this piece of paper that I have up next to my bed, right? And I put it up um, about this time last year. It was like towards the end of December last year. And it's titled My Covenant to Myself. And I have like, I don't know, like 8 things on there. And that are just vows for me, promises, self promises. And like, first one is I vowed to be my body's best friend. And that one, that one really came up for me at the end of November when I was experiencing that lupus incident and all of these other things. And I was just like, you know what? I have not been best friending my body at all. I know what my body needs. Like, it's not that I don't know. It's just that I hadn't prioritized to make the choice to give my body what it needs fully. Been kind of half-assing it. You know what I mean? And so that was one of the big inspirations for this too, of like, all right, I wrote this almost a year ago. It's about time that I actually keep this promise to myself. Vanessa, it's time. It's just time. Like that was a big theme of it too. Like, it's just time. Like, it's just time. I had been talking about doing a celibacy journey for a very, very long time. And I just was like, I don't want to. I don't want to yet. I'm not ready. All this shit. And it's like, it's just time. It's just time. It's all good. It is all good. And yeah. One of the other things on there is I vow to hold space for all I have going on within me. I vow to linger in stillness in order to create spaciousness. I vow to gift myself heart space with me and with God. I vow to value what matters most to me. Yeah, I'm going to keep that up throughout this year too, and really, really be mindful and intentional and prioritize keeping the promises that I make to myself. Because here's the thing, right? I talk a big game, and I mean it. Like, I actually mean it when I say I'm creating the life of my dreams. Nothing else will do. You know what I mean? It's going to happen. I'm going to just keep going until I'm experiencing the things that I want to experience. Like, they're not doing so is just not an option for me. Like, it's just not. Like, I'm stubborn as fuck, right? So like, it's just not an option. And not accepting less than I deserve is key. Only allowing myself to engage with anything or anyone that values me is key. And here's the kicker. That has to start with me. And that's why this year of devotion to myself is so necessary, because I have to be the first one to say, I'm going to make these promises to myself and I'm going to keep them. And I'm going to prioritize my health and my body and my rest and healing and regulating my nervous system and my emotions so that I can be at peace and calm in the day-to-day, or so I can at least shorten the time that it takes for me to regulate myself after I'm overstimulated with my kids or in my life or at work or with this project or with this thing that I feel overwhelmed with at the moment. I'm going to hold space for everything that I have going on within me, meaning what that looks like practically for me is if I'm overstimulated out here with the girls, I excuse myself, I go to the room and I close the door. And instead of scrolling through my phone how I used to disassociate, I put my AirPods in and I listen to one of the practices for somatic embodiment by Holistic Life Navigation, Luis Mujica. And I go through the practice of tracking the charge, of pendulation, and all these things and tools that I have, but actually like applying it. You know what I mean? I think it was Michael, his name Beckwith. Is that it? He talked about how he has like this program, and somebody was asking him for like the advanced version of the program, like they were done. He's like, well, the program is the first version, and then the advanced version is application, because you actually have to do this shit in order for it to actually work and transform whatever you're trying to change. But the thing is, I have to be the one to show up for myself first in my life. And so even just taking the energy that I normally pour out and pouring it inwardly, whether it's attention to myself and how I feel and what I want, and stillness and presence with myself, and honoring my presence, like knowing that my presence, like my energy, is such a gift. Like it's such a beautiful gift. And I will be the first one to really value that and really like savor in my own presence. Period. Not so that so that I can attract somebody who will do the same. No. Like I was very resistant to the thought of making this about fixing myself or preparing myself to find a partner. Like this is not that at all. At all. Um, will I be open to that one day? Maybe. Like that's just not even in the conversation right now. What this is me actually loving myself. Like this is what it actually looks like. And people talk about self-love and all these things. It's like, how do you do it? For me, this is how I do it. This is how I do it. And that means a lot. And because I'm somebody who I have big dreams and I'm actively working towards creating my life as I desire, as I envision it, this energy and this actual like playing out of me seeing my own worth, knowing the immense value and gift of my presence and my energy, and being the one first to value myself, and not allowing myself to accept anything that is less than what I deserve. That's the energy with which timeline shifts happen, with which magic occurs, and the dreams and the life that you wish to create. For me, I can't really explain it. It's more like just keep watching. Just keep watching, because it's not something that I know enough science about to like explain to you. I'm sure quantum physics or something like that could do that. But you'll see. You'll see what I mean. But I'm just here to say, like, if anything is going to work as a catalyst, no, let me say that. If anything is going to work as a catalyst for me creating my life and really bringing my dreams into fruition in my life and those experiences that I want to experience, it's going to be this moment, this season of my life where I made the choice to say, this is what I deserve. I will only accept what is for my highest and greatest good. And that which just isn't willing to value me or doesn't serve me in that way, then thank you and goodbye, you know? And me showing up for myself in all the ways that I've ever needed, that I've neglected myself, either because I didn't think I was worthy of it or because I was too busy pouring out for somebody else. And those are all decisions that I've made on my own. You know what I mean? I have chosen to show up that way in my life for people, for almost everybody that I've ever interacted with outside of myself. And it's like, it's just time. It's just time to pour that love and intention and attention and devotion inwardly to myself and to God. And so it just feels like a really magical, sacred time right now. I think I'll continue to get clarity. This is going to be a question that is just going to be with me for the rest of my life, because I'm never going to stop dreaming. Doesn't mean that I won't be content. I'm content now. I love my life. I love my life. I actually love it here. And to be honest with you, the life that I'm living now isn't that different than the life that I'm dreaming of and actively creating. Some of the things look really different, like the home that I'll be living in looks different. the bank account will look different. You know what I mean? Like the easefulness with which I can choose whatever I want to experience or purchase or whatever like that will be different. But the feeling of it, the gratitude, the joy, the delight, the presence, the stillness, the heart space, like the intention, the creativity, all of that is the same things that I will be experiencing when I'm living in my beach house in San Diego. You know what I mean? Like, not a lot of that will change. And the other day I was having a moment here and I was just like in a rut. Like, I was just stuck in this, like, just gross energy. And I was like, do you think that this version of you would be doing this if you were living in your beach house right now and you didn't have, you know, financial stresses or overwhelm of that kind? Part of me was like, do you think that this version of you deserves those things? Like, not even deserves. It was more like, do you think that this version of you, that this is how you call in those things and create the life that you want? And it was like, no, because it's not about, the magic of it is that in order to be in a state of receptivity, there has to be flow. There has to be surrender. There has to be a softness to receive. It's a very feminine energy, regardless of what your gender is. The feminine energy is to soften enough to be able to receive and say yes, please, and thank you. A lot of times when I'm with the girls, because I'm also the head of the household, because this is a single parent household, co-parenting household, I'm very much in masculine energy because it's like, I have to make sure that the shit gets done. You know what I mean? I have to make sure that the bills get paid. I have to make sure that the bedtime happens, that everything. I have to make sure everything. And I'm part of this, me being present with that experience, because that's often is, okay, this is all true. This is all actually happening right now. And how do I let go of the rigidity of it and the very, like, just hustle energy of it, and say, this is true, I do have to get these things done, but also is there a way I can soften and enjoy more and be more playful and be more present and delight more in these moments with my daughters? Honestly, that's one of my highest achievements that I will experience as I experience that more and more. I don't know that I'll ever do it perfectly, but like, that's my priority now and for as long as I have my daughters in my life continuously. Meaning, they will never be this young again. You know what I mean? And something that a nurse told me, a home nurse, when the twins were little, that used to come and visit us, she told me, the days are long, but the years are short. And like, no truer words have ever been spoken. The days are long. The days are long. My days feel like, by the time I get to bed, to the end of the day, I literally feel like whatever I did this morning was an entire week ago. I'm not even exaggerating. This is exactly what it feels like. I don't know what time continuum collapse is happening, but like, can we switch that to like make it backwards so that, anyways, I think it's just a matter of me being more present, to slow down the hustle and bustle of the day, and defiantly enjoy and delight in the experience and the moment and the connection together. Because it's not my first, like, intuitive thing to like, my first nature to do that. So just being very mindful with that and being intentional about being present for that purpose of enjoying these moments and getting out of the just constricted, like, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. Because then it's like, it's not fun for anybody. It's not fun for anybody. And it's like, there's room for a lot of fun in my life with me and with my daughters because I have so much to be grateful for. I have so much to be grateful for. Like, I have them, they're healthy. I love our home. I love my daughters. I love spending time with them. And sometimes I do let the overwhelm or the stress or for any reason, like, get the best of me. And it's like, if that's all that ever comes out of any inner work that I do, anything, any dream life that I'm trying to create, if that's if that's everything that ever comes of anything that I pursue, I will have won at life. Like, if I can just be present with my daughters and really delight in them and them actually feel that and receive that, then that's literally the most important thing in the world to me. Everything else on my vision board can fall by the wayside, but like that, we will not we will not stop until that's the experience. So that, yeah, lots of beauty, lots of really beautiful moments. It was Christmas, it was New Year's, like so many really great memories. I'm getting clarity on just my YouTube channel and social media pages for the podcast versus other things that I want to create. So what I decided was that this page is going to be for my podcast episodes and for clips of the podcast, and that's it. Which to me takes a lot of like just stress off of my shoulder because I was like trying to also create content to like intermingle with it. And it's like, I don't have to do all that. I can just keep it. This is just a podcast. This is a podcast page. That's it. And keep it as that. And anything else, just create whatever it is. So yeah, I'm actually, so remember I told you about you'll get to see more of like my weirdness. So I listened to Jadina on YouTube. Conversations with Jay is her handle. And she's a reader. And she's like just super connected with my energy for sure. She's accurate as fuck. And honestly, like I didn't even know people did that before I found her over a year ago now, around the time she started. But she was saying something. I think I said I'll link the message in here in the notes. But anyway, she was saying, I got some homework for us. We're going to do something if you're wanting to do this. And she's like, I want you to take yourself on a date with, the date will be with a future version of yourself. And as soon as I heard it, I was like, oh, this is so cool. I'm absolutely doing this. I was like, I'm going to buy myself some flowers. I'm going to dress up. I'm going to take myself to dinner. You know, I got the journals. You know, I got the vlogging. Like, it's going to be a whole thing. And so I'm doing that tonight. I'm really excited. I went to Trader Joe's to get myself flowers. And it's not that I don't like flowers. Like, I'm not saying I don't like flowers. It's just I feel bad because like they're cut, they're gonna die, all this stuff. So every time I go to get myself flowers, which isn't often, it's like it's something that I do. Instead, what I end up doing is buying a plant. So this is what I did. This is my new plant. She's really pretty, and I got to figure out what I'm gonna name her. We name our plants after singers that we like. So like that's Tori Kelly. This one's Beyonce, and that's Selena. We have Alicia Keys over there. And yeah. Anyways, that's what I'm getting ready to go do. So that'll be fun. And I am really excited for season 3 and coming in with conversations with friends and people. I actually had 2 different people reach out to me who I don't know after my episode 39, Broken Hallelujah, my relationship with God and Jesus after Christianity. And they basically asked if they could be on the podcast, and I was like, I'm actually taking a break for the month of December, so I'll reach out to you after the turn of the year, and we'll figure it out. And I'll be probably recording again in March. But I thought that was really interesting because one, I'm always surprised when people are watching. Like I just feel like I'm just saying stuff and then putting it out there. But I don't actually expect for people to like watch and listen or much less respond. But it has been increasing. So that's really interesting and actually like a really nice experience because I love to engage with people in that way and build community of people like that. And the alignment is there because, they've seen it, they've felt the energy, they've seen whatever I said or the message or episode, whatever it was. So that's pretty cool. I have some specific things that I'm going to be doing in 2026 that I'm really excited about. I joined this soul school that Taja Moore offers. Her website is bigtaj.com. And it's Arkara. And it's a lot of like energy work, like reading energy and just community and intuitive type stuff. And so I'm really excited about that. Also joining the Patreon for Tony Jones, who's my favorite affirmation artist. She does affirmation music. And me and the girls have been listening to her for like, I want to say since like 2021 or 2022, for a few years now. And we love her stuff. Like my favorite songs of hers are Sanctuary, Energy Budget, and Take Up Spaces. Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing with more things like energetically like that and really interacting with people who are in similar timelines of like, this is kind of like what I'm doing, So that's really cool. I can just feel, I can feel my life becoming what I'm trying to create out of it. And it feels really good. Yeah. Anyways, thank you so much for being here. My name is Vanessa, and this has been the Let's Get Woo Woo podcast bonus episode between seasons. And I will talk to you later. Bye. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm describing what it was like for me. And that's it. That's all I have to offer. Lean a lot into the things that people kind of make fun of when they're like, oh, not to get woo-woo. Like, no, we're going to lean into it here. Like, we're going to get woo-woo. Like, let's have this conversation. Let's have all the conversations.